Welcome everyone back to Raw Sport. My name is Ahmed El Houli. We're back with another episode with the man himself, Mr. Rick Glazer. Mr. Rick Glazer, what's cooking, my man? What do you got for us this week?
Well, we just had a lot of action over the weekend, a lot of things to talk about, this coming weekend. Let's get started.
Wow. We'll go to one of the biggest upsets over the weekend, actually. Jaime Munguia suffered a shocking sixth round knockout loss to the Frenchman Bruno Surace. I hope I said that right. Surace? In a homecoming super middleweight fight in Mexico in his native Tijuana. Quite the anticlimax. What happened? What went wrong, Rick?
Well, it wasn't an anticlimax. It was a great climax. It was unbelievably. It was a shot heard around the world. I know Munguia didn't train hard. He had trouble making weight. They moved the weight to 170 from 68, and he just looked like 10 pounds of shit in a bag, and he just didn't look like he had it. And he dropped the guy in a second, and the guy lingered around, and he got caught with a booming right hand in the sixth round and never really got up. He got up right at the count, and he was no shape to continue. The referee stopped the fight immediately. I mean, that's why we fight the fights, but you got to come in with the attitude of training hard, coming in on weight, not underestimating anybody that has it. I always say this about the other fighter. Is it a fair fight? Well, they're both wearing the same size gloves. And that's what proved it. Now, the other guy, people could say, well, it was, a cherry pick gone wrong. It was bad matchmaking. The guy was 25-0 with 4 knockouts. Was right-handed, was right in front of you. You couldn't miss the guy. And it wasn't, I would have picked that guy for Munguia. Anybody would have. I don't know any boxing guy that could tell you to tell you anything but the truth and tell you that he would have picked that guy. Okay, anybody that says no, they wouldn't have is a liar. And he just didn't. What was supposed to transpire didn't transpire.
What happens to these fighters, Rick? They go from a big payday against Canelo.
Well, that was the other thing. I think it was such a letdown going from a huge stage like pay-per-view with Canelo getting, I don't know, $12-15 million, 12.5 million, whatever. All of a sudden, probably getting 500 grand, maybe even 400 grand, and fighting a nobody guy who he never heard of. Let me teach everybody something about fighters. Fighters cannot get motivated for a guy that they never heard of before he was brought to their attention to fight him. They don't get motivated by that. The guy's a nobody. Oh, no big deal. The next thing you know, he's got knocked the fuck out. Okay? But these fighters need to be motivated. Just like in a football game in the NFL in America. These guys need to be motivated every week. If they're not, they're going to get beat. And it's no different in boxing. They need to be motivated. And obviously he wasn't. He was overweight. His body was flabby. He looked uninspired. And then after the fight, when he got knocked out, he's in the ring smiling. I mean, you can't make this shit up.
Rick, why do you go from fighting Alvarez to fighting a Frenchman that nobody's never heard of?
Because there's not a lot of money available for a fight like this. So a fighter's going to want a lot of money to fight Munguia. Munguia's going to want a lot of money to fight a good fighter. And this is what you get. You get an $100,000 or $200,000 fighter, and then Munguia gets $400,000 or $500,000. He doesn't get millions. You know what I'm saying? So it just didn't work out. He was not prepared. He was not mentally motivated, physically motivated. He wasn't emotionally motivated, and this is what you got. He was in no shape. He was overweight. He was working out the day before the weigh-in, and the prior day before the weigh-in in Chula Vista, California, in a hot box in a gym, not a boxing gym. What do they call those fitness gyms?
Yeah, like a Planet Fitness,
right?
LA Fitness.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
So something that we can pretty much look at is his move to top rank from Golden Boy. Is that a did that have any impact on him fighting this unknown Frenchman?
Well, I don't think that. Um, I don't know. I don't. I can't. I can't say that it did, but I would say that I don't think Golden Boy would have chose this guy because of the fact that he's an unknown Frenchman in a main event on the zone, and I don't think the zone would have allowed it. So it was a weird thing. Was he good enough to be in a main event? Really not. It just didn't work out.
Interesting. Well, what's next for Munguia?
It's a rematch. Nowhere to go but a rematch.
Was there a clause?
Yes.
Well, so he's got a pretty adequate management.
Yeah, he'll win the rematch. He'll win the rematch. He'll be prepared. He'll be motivated now. He'll win the rematch.
Geez, the psyche of fighters is interesting. Now you go from being top of the world to now coming back and have to prove yourself once again when you could have just gone through the fight.
When you wait, would you listen to this? Imagine talking to his grandkids years from now, and I lost to, the best, Canelo Alvarez. Pa, who's this guy you lost to from France? I never heard of him.
Wow, it's pretty insane, honestly, because to go from fighting the best in the world, the biggest name, the biggest draw, to losing to an unknown journeyman, in fact.
But, well, I wouldn't call him a journeyman. He was 25-0. I wouldn't call him a journeyman, but I would call him an unknown. An unknown.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, we wish him all the best moving forward. This guy might have the wood over him. We don't know. We'll find out. But when they do the rematch, Garcia's exhibition has been moved after a wrist injury. Boxing superstar Ryan Garcia.
There's not going to be any exhibition. By the time he's ready to fight and they're ready to do the fight again, Golden Boy will have him booked into a fight on the zone in April. Like as soon as that April 20th suspension is up, like within days, and they'll have it signed up in February. He won't be ready to go. Believe me, that exhibition is not happening.
So you reckon this wrist injury is just an excuse, really?
Well, I don't know about that. That I can't tell you. But when it's ready to go, he's going to be ready to fight, and his suspension will be almost up, and they'll be planning the next fight for him. It's probably February for April.
Because Oscar De La Hoya made it very clear that he's still under contract, so he can't just go and do deals left, right, and center. All of a sudden, we have some up and down, and then there's been wrist.
Like I said, I don't know anything about that wrist injury, but what I read, but there won't be an exhibition in Japan. Let's put it that way to you.
Moving on, our great mate Dillian Whyte made a return with a win over an unknown Ebenza Tetteh with a 7th round technical knockout. I didn't watch the fight. All reports were he looked very average.
He looked horrible. And when you're going to look like that, why would you do that? Why would you look like that? I mean, his body looked out of shape. He looked like he was no shape. He was winded. Listen, obviously he was on steroids. He got caught. He served his 2-year suspension. He's coming back, but he didn't give himself any credibility yesterday. That's for sure.
But Rick, what's going on with this guy?
Don't forget, Tetteh's a guy got knocked out with one punch in the first round by Daniel Dubois in Daniel Dubois' formative years.
Yeah, but Rick, what's the story with this guy, Dillian Whyte? He goes from matchroom fighting the best heavyweights in the world to after the Fury fight, he just hasn't. Are we seeing another Munguia in motion or what?
Oh, he's 36 years old, so that's got something to do with it. He's about 36 years old. That has a lot to do with it. And he's had a lot of fights. He might be wore out. Maybe he needed the steroids to compete at that top level. Instead of giving him an advantage, maybe it just made him an equal.
What happened to his relationship with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn? They seem to be tied.
Well, they never had a contract. They didn't have a contract. Eddie was using him. He does make good fights when he was the Dillian Whyte we knew, but it is what it is, you know.
So they've used him and spit him out, and now he's fighting on unbranded shows.
Well, I'm not saying that part. I'm not saying that. Listen, I'm not a fan of Eddie's, and Eddie knows it, but I'm not blaming that on Eddie. I'm just saying to you that, you know, he was on the suspension for the 2 years with the Peds, and maybe Eddie washed his hands now of him because of the Peds.
Yeah.
Maybe one of Eddie's guys saw him in the gym and said, this guy, let's not screw with this guy anymore. He's shot, or he doesn't look good, or shouldn't be fighting, or whatever. We don't know. I don't know what happened. All I know is he looked terrible.
There you go. All right. Interesting. Moving on. A huge bout has been cancelled. Mr. Inoue was scheduled to fight Sam Goodman at the end of this month. All of a sudden, Sam Goodman's copped a cut above the eye, and unfortunately, the fight's not going ahead. It's been postponed until the 24th of January in Tokyo. When Inoue fights, it's going to be huge. It's always huge there.
Everything's the same. Everything's the same, except instead of December 24th, it's January 24th. Nothing's changed. The undercard's the same. The site's the same. Same purses, same everything.
You pretty much answered my next question. I was going to say, is there anything different that we need to look out for? So on, so on. But you pretty much answered that. Who are you picking in that fight? Oh, jeez. We'll keep going.
Listen, I like Sam. He's a nice kid. I hope he does well. But Inoue's Inoue.
He's the beast. He's the monster. Dennis Berinchyk and Keyshawn Davis are finalizing a deal for a WBO lightweight title on the 14th of February at the New York Theater at Madison Square Garden. What are your thoughts on the fight? What's happening with Keyshawn Davis?
I think Keyshawn Davis is big and strong for the weight class at 135. Too active physically. He fights very often, and I think it's his time. And I think he's going to beat Berinchyk and take the WBO title.
So, you think this is Davis's time? So he's going to fight,
absolutely. He's right. He's an Olympian. He's an Olympic silver medalist. He's active. He's in the gym. He's a gym rat. He's always in shape in between fights. He doesn't have to lose weight. He doesn't have to lose weight to make the weight. He's just always near his weight. He's a pro. He really is. I have nothing but respect for the guy. The only thing he needs is a new haircut.
You're doing well. You had to spoil it at the end, eh? All right, we'll keep going.
You need a new nickname, the businessman. That's not really exciting. Right? New hairstylist, a new haircut, and a new nickname.
He needs a makeover, pretty much.
Right. We should call him the Beast. Some kind of great name.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these fighters are sort of evolving their whatever you want to call them, their names as they go up in their careers based on the different stages of their careers.
Well, Tommy Hearns started out in the amateurs as Tommy Hurricane Hearns.
Yeah.
Then he was the Hitman.
Yeah.
He was Tiger Tommy. I mean, he had a lot of nicknames. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Maybe he'll get a new nickname. He needs a new nickname like the Beast or some kind of, something like that. But the businessman's not a little bland.
100%. Massive fight night this weekend in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh season. Usyk versus Fury, number 2. Who's your pick? And then we'll go into some of the intricacies.
Well, I haven't seen what Fury looks like, his body. And I'd have to look at the weigh-in to see what he really. But I think he would be motivated to get his title back, and I think he would be in great shape. And I look to see Fury win the same kind of decision that he lost in the first fight. Very, very close, hard fought fight. Same as the first fight, but I think he gets the decision this time. I think it's going to be close.
You think he can stop him?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think Fury punches that great. He's a good puncher, but I think Usyk has a great chin. He's very evasive. He's hard to hit. I mean, I don't know. He targets that body early enough. I don't know. Maybe he does, but I don't think so.
Interesting. There's been some commentary on the pay purses or on their purses. It's believed that Usyk will walk out with $114 million and Fury $76 million. Do you know if there's any truth to these rumors?
The $76 million sounds proper to me, but $140 million for Usyk who can't sell a ticket.
Yeah, it sounds rather odd, eh?
It's just, if it was 75 a piece, I'd believe it.
Yeah.
If it was something like that, I just don't believe you're getting 140 million. I just don't see it.
Yep, absolutely.
Something doesn't sound right to me.
There's a few fights on the undercard. Nothing too exciting, to be quite honest with you. There's just we'll do a quick shout out to my fellow Aussie Dempsey McKean, managed by our good friend Angelo De Carlo. He's got a tough fight against Moses Itawama. What do you think his chances are?
Moses is supposed to be the next great thing, and he's left-handed. He's very powerful. He's got very fast hands, and he's in the pocket rolling with you and smacking people, getting people out of there quick. And Dempsey McKean doesn't have the best defense I've ever seen. I don't think it's gonna take too long.
Any other fights on the undercard that we should look out for that you think might turn it to be barn burners?
Well, the barn burner got taken off the show. That Dennis McCann got caught with steroids and of some type. I shouldn't say steroids, performance enhancing drugs. Whether it was a steroid or not, I don't know. But and he was supposed to fight Peter what's it, McGinn? Is it something like that? Peter something. And that was supposed to be a good fight. But there you go. Little guys, like 130s. What are you going to do?
Nothing else we can look out for? There's a few heavyweights on there.
I think Ishmael Davis and Bochuk will be a decent fight. As long as, I think that's a decent fight. That'll be a fun fight.
What about Johnny Fisher and David Allen?
No, Johnny Fisher is too fast to hands and too powerful for David Allen, even though Allen's got a lot of experience. I think it's guys going in two different directions entirely.
There you go. All right. There's some comments in the chat. One of the comments is saying Usyk is getting paid to lose. It's quite the commentary.
That doesn't happen at that level. Come on, please.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, lots to look forward to this weekend. We had a big weekend of boxing last weekend. We're finishing off the boxing calendar with an awesome fight card or two. It's been really, really exciting to see these cards put together. Tukio Sheikh reckons he's got a bigger year for us next year, so lots to look forward to. On that note, it brings us to the end of our segment. Do you have any parting words for us, Mr.
Yeah,
Glazer?
one thing I want to talk about we didn't mention, and I didn't talk to you about it, was the great fight that Alexis Rocha Raul Corral put on at 12 rounds on his own Saturday night. That's what boxing is all about, folks. 2 top 10 guys killing each. I mean, what a fight. It was 12 rounds of warfare. I mean, the first few rounds was more boxing by Alexis Rocha, but after the 4th round, they were just standing there killing each other. And it was a sensational fight. And it was completely overshadowed by Munguia losing.
Yeah, it was, because every single highlight reel on social media was him getting knocked out.
Yeah. I mean, that was really a shame. But, hats off to Alexis Rocha, hats off to Raul Corral. They give 1,000% of themselves. There's going to be a immediate
I was
rematch
about to say,
between the two. Yeah, well, I think put it this way to you. I shouldn't say immediate, but it'll be both their next fight. But they need about 6 months off after that fight. I mean, those guys got to be. Could you imagine being sore the next 3-4 days? They have to be sore and sore.
yeah,
That was. I mean, I got wore out watching it.
those men left it all on the line. It was
They
quite the fight.
they did. I mean,
Hopefully-
hats off to those guys. I wish every. It was a funny thing. I had a guy watching. I just told him to get the zone. He got the zone, and he started watching. So, oh my God, I can't believe what I've been missing. I said, well, every fight's not like that, so slow down.
Definitely not, especially towards the middle of this year and earlier when they were running out of money because Eddie Hearn spent it all. But anyway, we won't go into all of that. All right, Rick, it's an absolute pleasure, mate, to do it again. Thank you very much. Thank you to all our listeners and viewers who tune in. If you have any questions, just tag us on Twitter or tag Rick directly. Thank you, everyone. Take care. We'll catch you on the next episode of Raw Sport. Take care, everyone.